So getting started with Google Cloud. Now, when you get started with Google Cloud, there are two use cases. See, you learned Microsoft Azure, you learned AWS, but nobody told you that what are the different ways to get started the relationship. You directly created a free trial, or you were directly given access to an account or a subscription, and you started provisioning services. You started learning the product, but you never knew that what is the starting point. How do we get started? How do you need to get started as a business? How do you need to get started as an individual? Because there are two use cases. So let's understand this in Google so that you can compare and correlate with Azure and AWS. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. So when it comes to getting started with Google Cloud, we have got two use cases. So what my use cases are, my first use case is as an individual. As an individual, you're signing up to Google Cloud. So as an individual, signing up with Google Cloud. How do you sign up with as an individual? So if you are signing up as an individual, what do you get in return? As an individual, you can sign up for a free trial of Google Cloud. And when you sign up for a free trial, so you can sign up for a free trial, you provide basic information. You must have a Gmail ID to sign up as an individual. So you sign up to Google and then you get US dollar 300, which is valid for 90 days. That's what you get. And post 90 days, your account, your Google relationship automatically converts to paid account post 90 days. However, Google will not charge you. Google will only charge you when you provide your payment method, when you create a billing account. That's what we will talk about today. So you get $300 valid for 90 days and you get access to a project. So what you know as account or what you know as subscription in Azure is a project in Google. So subscription is in Azure and account is AWS and Google is project. So Google call it a project. Subscription is a container wherein you provision resources. Account is a container wherein you provision resources in AWS. Project is the container where you create resources in Google Cloud. So you actually provision resources in a project. That's what you get as an individual. And how do you access Google Cloud Console? So you get a project and you access GCP console via console.cloud.google.com and select the project. So you get a project, you log into the console with this command console.cloud.google.com and you select the project. Once you are inside the project, you can start provisioning the resources. That's how an individual sign up to Google, or that's how as an individual you can start your relationship with Google. However, what if you want to start your relationship as a business? So how it happens in case of business, let's understand. So if you're starting your relationship as a business or enterprise signing up with Google Cloud. If you're signing up as a business, this is what you basically get. So when you sign up as a business, the first thing that you need to do is business must verify or add or onboard, whatever language you want to use, must verify, add, onboard their domain with Google Cloud. That's the first thing that you need to do if you're signing up as a business. So you need to verify add or onboard your domain with Google Cloud. For example, if your employer is signing up to Google Clouds, then they will need to, is this, and this is the domain that you use basically. So this domain needs to be verified with Google, needs to be added or onboarded to Google Cloud. Then only they can sign up as a business, because the services or the features that a business will get versus an individual will differ. And hence you will need to sign up in a different process. So you need to provide this information, your domain. The second thing that you need to provide is business will business can subscribe after you provide this, after you onboard your domain to Google Cloud, you will subscribe to Google Workspace. Google Workspace is Google Apps. So you will subscribe to Google Workspace service or Cloud Identity. Cloud Identity. If you want to use Google App Services, then you can use Google Workspace service also. Cloud Identity is the bare minimum that you need to subscribe. Now, what is Cloud Identity? Cloud Identity is the IAM service of Google Cloud. Cloud Identity is similar to what is Microsoft Entra ID to Azure, or what is IAM Identity Center to AWS. Cloud Identity is to Google. So these are the comparative services that you see. So you basically subscribe to Cloud Identity, and from Cloud Identity portal, you will manage all the relationship. Whatever I'm showing, typing here, I will show you a demo also today itself. Next, so after you subscribe to Cloud Identity, business, after subscribing to Cloud Identity, business will create a GCP account. After that account gets created, and as part of GCP account, business will get an additional thing, which is an organization. So as part of this account, an organization will be created by business. Organization structure is created as the following. After you subscribe to Cloud Identity, after you create your GCP account, you will log into the account, you will click on identity and organization, and you will provide the required information, and then an organization structure will be created, and that structure will work like this. So that organization structure will have on the top, I'm saying that organization structure which gets created, it will have an organization. The organization basically means the business domain, which is, let's say, nextern.com. So that's what gets created. Organization with the business domain gets created, which is nextern.com. Inside the organization, you create folder. Now, this folder basically denotes to various and departments. Various BUs and departments, various business units and departments that exist within this organization, which is nextern.com, will be granted a folder. A folder will be denoted to that. Inside folder, you will create a project. And this project is nothing but container for Google Cloud resources. So inside the folder, a project will get created, and inside the project, you will create resources. And these resources are nothing but service instances, which is your compute engine, your VPC, your GCS cloud storage bucket, BigQuery, or anything, GKE. That's what it will get created. So you get an organization, a folder, a project, and a resource. This is what gets created. Now, this information is known as resource hierarchy in Google. Above is also known as resource hierarchy in Google Cloud. Okay. Now, I have seen, I have seen people who have good knowledge of Google Cloud. But when you ask them what is resource hierarchy in Google, they don't know. If they tell you that resource hierarchy has organization, folder, project, resources, if you ask them how do you create the resource hierarchy, they don't know. Or in what scenario you should be creating a resource hierarchy, or in what scenarios you should be using an organization structure, they don't know. They know how to provision compute engine instances. They know how to provision GCP, Google Cloud Storage buckets. They know how to provision VPCs. But is that knowledge sufficient? This is like you don't know the basics and you know something that happens at stage third and fourth. What is the point of it? That will only make you an engineer. You will continue to become an engineer throughout your life. If you want to become a consultant, if you want to move to the next level, you need to understand the basics because that's what you will do for your clients. When you onboard a client in Google Cloud or in operations, there will be two scenarios. Either the client already has workloads and applications in Google Cloud that you are supporting, or client is new and migrating to Google Cloud. In that case, you are responsible to build the entire landing zone, which comprises of this step. This is the step that you need to do. You will need to configure it, and you can only configure it when you know it. So this is very important for you need to know this. So let's see how it works. Now this part, I believe you all have done. You all have created a free trial account, and by virtue of that, you understand this part. This part, I will give you a demo now. I'll show you how this part works. So this is how you sign up. So here we can open Google and we can say signing up to Cloud Identity. You basically sign up to Cloud Identity Service. They keep on changing the. Okay, let's click here. Okay. Not here. Okay. This is how you get started. So this is how a business gets started. This is the first step. So I'll put that into the chat window for your reference. Now, obviously, you cannot do that because for this part, you will need a domain. As long as you don't have a domain, don't try it. It will not work. It will fail. So you basically start from here. I'll also put that into the document. Signing up with Cloud Identity. Okay, so this is how you get started. So you will type your business name. Let's assume that Nextern is start. Nextern is onboarding to Google Cloud. Nextern.com, employee 300 plus. You will type your region. You are in India, whatever country you are in. You will select the region where your business is registered. So if your business is registered in India, you will select India, not where you do the business. That is secondary. Where you have registered your business, you will select that region because accordingly, Google will create the billing account. Accordingly, Google will decide whether GST is applicable or federal tax is applicable to you. Next, after you do this, you will provide your information. So this is the information of the workspace admin. Somebody who will become the admin for Google Workspace or Cloud Identity, you will provide the information. So let's say I'll provide this information. business phone number. I'll just type any number. Next. Then you type the domain name. So the first was business name. Sometimes what businesses do, they keep the business name and domain name same. And if you don't want to do that, you can come here, you can type the business name, whatever name with which your company is registered. So I'm just typing this name because I do not know what name, with name your company is registered. Then here you provide your domain name. Now, this domain name, it says enter your business domain name. You will use it to set up custom email addresses like your domain.com. We will walk you through the process. Now it says we will walk you through the verifying that your business owns this domain. That will do done later. You will need to verify your ownership to this domain. Otherwise, anybody can come and use it. Now it says someone at your organization is already using this domain, using your domain for a Google service. What it tells me that your employer is already registered with Google. Your employer is already using some Google services. I don't know which service, whether Workspace, whether something else, but one thing is for sure, your employer is already registered with Google. So this part is covered. That is why it says that someone is already using this domain. To sign up for a new Google service, you will need to verify ownership of this domain. So if you feel that it is not done, nobody has signed up to Google, with this domain, you can hit next, and now you will need to verify. So how do you verify? In order to verify, it says, in order to verify, they will provide you some text record or CNAME record that you will need to create at your domain registrar. Wheresoever your domain, you will need to do that part. So since this is already registered, you cannot move further. What you can do, you can purchase a new domain. Google also sell domain. So you can get a domain for your business. You can get a domain and then you can sign up with that domain. For example, my domain. If I type this domain and hit next, I will get the same error because this domain is already in use. You can see. If you own this domain and would like to use Google Workspace, please follow these steps, the verification steps. Otherwise, purchase a new domain. If I type the other domain, this will also not work because I'm using that also. See, this domain hasn't been purchased yet. So this domain I purchased for 1 year and then I did not renew it. So that's how you can get started. Now imagine that you did this step was completed. After you are done with this step, after you hit next, it will ask you for some additional information about your business, which is your GSTN number, your PIN number, your PAN number, business address, and other information. And once that part is done, you will hit submit and you will sign up to Google. Google will take a minimum of 24 hours to validate your information. Google has, connection or tie-up with the legal department or the government department so that it can quickly verify whether the information that you're provided, which is TIN number, CIN number, company number, or GSTN number, it will quickly verify that the information is correct. Yes, this business does exist. This domain does exist. And you will receive an email address on your registered. I'm saying the previous step, you provided the email address, this email address. This becomes your admin email address. On this email address, Google will communicate. If it is successful, if there are challenges, anything, Google will communicate here, tell you that congratulations, you signed up to Google services, or we are afraid to inform you that something did not work right. Here is what you need, or we need additional information. Kindly provide the documentation. So you will need to provide that information. Once this part is done, then this is what you get. Once this part is done, you basically use this URL, which is admin.google.com, to log into your Google account. Now, this is different from an individual. So you will use admin.google.com to log in to your admin account. This is your admin account. So here I will type my admin ID with which I signed up to Google Cloud, support@cloudexpert.com. I'll type the password. And I'm signing in. I'm signed in. This is what you will get to see. This is what business gets to see. This is the admin portal or identity and access management portal of Google Cloud. which is different from what you see in console. So I can also sign into console from here, console.cloud.google.com. Now, since I'm already signed in on this browser in another tab with these credentials, it will automatically, when I hit enter, it will automatically use these credentials and sign me into the Google Cloud Console. So it is signing to the console. Now you can see here, this is my admin console. This is the business console. From this console, the business can manage the relationship with Google with respect to billing relationship, with respect to anything that business wants to purchase. Let's say I want to subscribe to additional applications. I want to purchase Google Workspace applications. I can see the service status here. So over here, I can see I'm subscribed to these services. If I want to subscribe to other applications, I can do everything here. I'm saying all additional Google services if I want to take. These are the services which are available. So this is my billing information, subscription information, what kind of subscription I'm using. So you can see here, I'm not subscribing to Google Workspace, which is Google Apps. For that, my company has Microsoft Office, and we are quite happy with it. We are using this portal. This is a common portal for both Google Workspace, Google App Services, and Google Cloud Services, which is known as Cloud Identity Portal or Admin Portal. Over here, I'm subscribed to Cloud Identity free version. So Google provides you, if there's a business who is only interested in Google Cloud Services, then the business will be provided free license of Cloud Identity. Using that license, you can manage your identities on this portal. And you can manage your Google Cloud relationship from this portal itself. That's how business is subscribing. So an individual do not get access to this portal. It is not available to an individual. This is only available to business. You can see here, it says managed by cloudexpert.com. So this is managed by cloudexpert.com, and this is the admin email address. And if I go to my console, this is my cloud console, you will see the same information here, that this account is managed by cloudexpert.com. So this is my Google Cloud Console. Over here, I can create projects. These are all the projects that I have. I can create projects under this organization. So cloudexpert.com is the organization. Now over here in the console, if I click on I am an admin and this, now if you are signing up as an individual, you will use this portion, I am portion, identity and access management, and this will give you very limited options. But when you sign up as a business, you will use this service, which is identity and organization. And when you click on this service, it will take you to this page, and it says that this service is not viewable for project. This is an organization level service. It requires an organization. So I'll select my organization here, cloudexpert.com. Now I will see this service. So this is the service. You can see I signed up to this service in 2022. I was delivering a training for a global consulting giant. They wanted me to work on a use case using which they can have a single identity source for all the cloud identities. And as part of that POC, they basically gave me funds. So I created all of this organization, which took me a couple of days to build it from scratch. And then I completed that POC. And after that, I retained this access for my trainings. So I signed up to this organization, and here, I'm managing everything. So here I'm managing billing counts, admin console, all of it. So this information, if you go to, I'm saying if you sign up to your free trial account, Google free trial account, the console, and if you click on identity and organization, you will get an option to set up the identity and organization. So this is how you manage. So here you will manage the identities. Now, as an individual, you will manage everything in IAM over here. And as a business, you will manage everything here. Now, why am I spending time on this? Why am I not directly jumping into provisioning a virtual machine or a cloud storage account? That part is not important. That part you can learn. That part is available on YouTube also. Various videos are available. What I'm telling right now is something which is not available. And this is what you need to know. Why? Because you are going to support a customer who is an enterprise, who will have all the identities managed by this portal. So if by any chance you get the identity and access management piece, the scope in identity and access management support into your support scope, you will be managing this portal. You will be granted appropriate role on this portal, appropriate access on this portal, and you will be managing this portal for your client. You will be managing all the identities from here. For example, let's say if I want to, if your client sends you a request and says that we have a new employee joined, please grant that employee access to a specific project, right? How will you do that? So first you will create the identity of that employee here. How do you create identities? You will navigate to directory. Under directory, you see users here. You will click on users. And here you will create the user account for that employee. So you will create the user account like this. Add new user. You will provide the first name. Let's say I create the user account for Rakesh. So Rakesh Sahu. The email address for Rakesh will become rakesh.sahu@cloudexpert.com. Secondary email address, if I want to type anything, probably Rakesh has a personal email address, rakesh.sahu@gmail.com. Phone number, I'll just type phone number 2468. And then if I want to provide additional information, if I want to upload his profile photograph, I'll do that here. Create password for Rakesh. And add a new user. So that's how I will create a user. Now Rakesh user is created. Now, in case of Google Cloud, email address is very important. In case of Azure and AWS, email address is secondary. You don't use email address anywhere. In AWS, you can directly log in with your name. But in Google, email address is very important. So now Rakesh user is created. Okay. Now, since his user is created, if I go back to my Cloud Console, this is my console, Google Cloud Console. Over here, so the request that I get from business was to create a user account and grant that user access to a specific project in Google Cloud. Now, these are the projects. Let's say I need to grant him access to GCP POC. So I will first go to that project. So I navigate to that project now. I'm in that project, and inside that project, I will get an option to grant access. So I will click on grant access here, and here I will add the principal. Another learning for you. Identity in Google Cloud is known as principal. Identity in Azure Cloud is known as I am user. Identity in Microsoft Cloud is known as user. So Google used the concept of principal. So you will add principal. This is where I will add Rakesh. Now understand the difference here. See what is happening. I typed Rakesh, an additional S I typed here, rakesh.sahu@cloudexpert.com. What it says, this email address and domain must be associated with an active Google account, Google Workspace account, or Cloud Identity account. So what it means that you cannot add a principal in a project unless that principal means that ID, unless that ID is associated with an active Google account or a Google Workspace account or a Cloud Identity account. Now, this identity is not associated anywhere. This identity is not even a Google account, a Google Workspace account, or Cloud Identity account. That's why I cannot add this identity. But the moment I will remove that additional S from here, rakesh.sahu@cloudexperts.com, it will happily accept it. Why? It has accepted it here. There. See, now I'm not getting that red cross. Why? Because rakesh.sahu@cloudexpert.com is a cloud identity. Similarly, if I want to add a Gmail identity is a Google account. For example, if I have a Gmail ID, raghu.19852006 @gmail.com, it will happily accept it. See, it has accepted it. But the moment I'll do something else that does not exist, for example, this raghu.19852007 @gmail.com, it will give me an error. It says that this ID doesn't exist. So what does it tell you? This is how Google is different from Azure and AWS. In Azure and AWS, you can create any user. You can invite or add any user, whether that user is part of Microsoft or not, whether that user is part of AWS or not. But in case of Google Cloud, you can only add a principal or a user or an identity when that identity is either a Google account, which is a Gmail ID, or a cloud workspace, sorry, Google Workspace or cloud identity account. Other than this, there is no fourth option. You can also add Google Groups and Google Service accounts also, but they are also part of Google account. They are active Google account. So you cannot add anything here. What it basically tells you. The other thing that you will notice here, that in the Google Cloud Console, there is no option to create a user. Do you see an option to create a user in your respective console, guys? Go and check. If I open Azure and AWS portal, and if I go to the IAM service of that portal, I will very much get an option to create a user. See, I'm logging into Azure here. If I go to Entra ID, this is the Entra ID service. If I click on users, there is an option to create a new user. You can see here, there is an option. I can create a new user. In the Entra ID service itself or Azure Active Directory itself, it gives me an option to create a user. Same is the case with AWS. If I log into AWS, so I'm logged into AWS. Here also, if I navigate to IAM console, if I navigate to IAM, if I click on users, I get an option to create a user. So I can create a new user here also. However, in Google Cloud Console, this is Google Cloud Console. In the IAM, there is no option to create a user. You only have option to grant access. Grant access basically means granting access to an identity which already exists. So where exactly do you create identities in Google Cloud? In this Cloud Identity Console. This is where you create new identities. And once you create identities here, you can then have those identities added to your Google Cloud platform projects, Google Cloud projects. Are you with me on this, guys? This is how Google IAM is different from AWS and Azure IAM. Any question? Yes.
So you told that in hierarchy we are creating first organization, then folder, then project, like this. But where we can create the folders?
Okay. So in order to create the folders, first of all, you need to sign in the Google Cloud Console as the Cloud Identity Super Admin or org admin. So if you look at my user, this is my user. And if you look at my user permissions, so this is your cloud identity portal. This portal also has role-based access. There are multiple roles here. You can see super admin, group reader, group editor, user management admin. These are the roles. If you want to create a folder, you don't create an organization. Organization is by default created when you onboard your domain to Google Cloud. So when I onboarded cloudexpert.com, the process that I showed you before, when I onboarded, it automatically created an organization unit for me, which is cloudexpert.com, and whatever name I give, this is the alias to that unit. So it automatically created that. So it is managed by cloudexpert.com, and I've given an alias, which is Cloud Expert Training. So that organization is already created. After the organization is created, since I signed up with this ID support at cloudexpert.com, I became the super admin by default. So you can see assign stat, assign. So I'm already a super admin here. However, if I want somebody else to be delegated this role, for example, who signs up? Typically finance team, because they have the finance information, they know the GST number, they have credit debit card information, and they want to be added as a contact person for any relationship. So they sign up. And by default, the email address with which they sign up, that becomes the super admin or the admin email address. After that, what they do, they create users. Probably they will create a user for the business unit head. Let's say Harsha is the head for cloud business. So they'll create a user for Harsha, and they will grant Harsha super admin role. Super admin role, basically the highest privilege. They will grant Harsha the super admin role. After that, Harsha will log into the cloud identity portal, and Harsha will add his team members, probably managers, team leaders, and Harsha will grant them appropriate access like group admin role or whatever role that Harsha will grant them. Or Harsha can also make them super admin. Let's say probably Harsha makes Avinash a super admin. Now Avinash will log in. And if Avinash needs to create a folder, or if Avinash needs to create additional projects for various business units, then this is how Avinash will do. So Avinash will log into the console, Google Cloud Console, which contains the projects. So Avinash will, after Avinash log into the console, Avinash will navigate to the cloudexpert.com organization. Avinash will navigate to the organization. Inside the organization, Avinash will see an option that says manage resources at the bottom. So Avinash will click on manage resources, and over here, Avinash can create folder and Avinash can create projects. So if Avinash needs to create a folder structure for, let's say, CloudOps is cloud, let's say there's a training which needs to happen for Google Cloud, and for that access will be granted by the external itself. So what Avinash will do, Avinash will create a folder first. So Avinash will create a folder which is L&D, learning and development. And Avinash will create that folder inside the organization cloudexpert.com, which will be by default selected. So then after creating that folder, so the folder is getting created, it says you cannot use this ampersand. So probably you can say L&D. So now this folder is getting created. Now inside this folder, once this folder gets created, you can add projects. Now the folder is created, just refresh the page and you will see the folder. So folder is created. It is still not coming. We'll just wait. It takes a couple of minutes. Okay, so the folder is now reflecting. You can see L&D folder is reflecting. Now you will create a project. So when you create a project, you can provide the project name. Let's say I'm creating a project for CloudOps. In this project, all CloudOps team members will be granted access so that they can learn, they can play around with Google Cloud services, and they can learn what they need to do. So CloudOps I will create, and I will be creating this under location. Here I will select the location, which is my L&D folder. Now that L&D folder is not reflecting here, as I said, after you create a folder, it takes a couple of minutes for that folder to reflect in Google resource hierarchy. So once again, I click on it. Now I see it, L&D. So I'll select L&D and I'll creating this project, which is CloudOps. So now the project will get created under L&D with the name CloudOps. So when I click on CloudOps, as I said, whatever you do, wait for a minute to have that reflected. It doesn't work so quickly. So we'll need to wait for a minute. Till the time, I'll create another project. So I'll create another project for SecOps in the same folder, which is L&D. Create. So I've created two projects, CloudOps and SecOps. Let it get created. Both the projects are created. You can see now SecOps and CloudOps projects are here. So SecOps and CloudOps projects are created. Then I will need to grant resources access to these projects. Now I will move out of it. I don't need to be here. This is how you create projects and folder. Does that answer your question, Rakesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next thing, after the folder and project is created, you don't grant principals access to a folder. You grant them access to a project. So then you will navigate to IAM once again. I am an admin. And from here, you can select the project. For example, now I want to select this project. SecOps is shown. In some time, you will start to see the other projects also. You just need to wait for a minute. Let's say SecOps. So you'll navigate to the project, SecOps, and inside this project, you can see by default, some principles are already added. For example, Cloud Experts org admin. This is the org admin account. It is by default added, who becomes the org admin. Then Cloud Expert security admin is by default added, which is basically for Google native Siemens source service, which is Chronicle. Then a service account is automatically added, which is basically for managing the API calls. And then two additional users are automatically added. Support at cloudexpert.com, which is the owner of this project, because with this ID, you have created the project, and Shivam Pandey at cloudexpert.com. Now, how come Shivam Pandey is coming here by default? Shivam Pandey is coming here by default because Shivam Pandey has got viewer role at the organization. So since Shivam Pandey has got the viewer role at the organization, by default, all the folders and project in the organization, he will inherit the same role. So if you navigate to the Cloud Expert organization, you will see Shivam Pandey is here, viewer. Since Shivam Pandey has been added as a viewer here, by default, he gets access to everything which is underneath. So under the organization, you have folder. Underneath the folder, you have projects. Underneath the projects, you have resources. So by default, this user will maintain the same level of access. This is how resource hierarchy works. Instead of showing it in the presentation, I'm directly showing you a demo how these things are working in reality. So that's how it is working. So you've seen how did I create a folder? How did I create multiple projects inside that folder, Cloud Apps and SecOps? And how do I add a resource how do I add a principal to a project? So I'll navigate to that project, let's say SecOps. Once you navigate to a project, then you can click on grant access and you can grant access to a project. So rakesh.sahu at cloudexperts.com. And here you will select a role for Rakesh. Now I can select similar to Azure and AWS. In Azure, you have role-based access control, RBAC. In AWS, you have policies. So same thing here in Google Cloud, wherein you have basic roles, which is browser, editor, owner, and viewer. So I can grant any role to Rakesh. Owner is equivalent to owner, which is the project owner, and project owner can manage they are the owner of the project. They can even delete the project. They can also manage other aspects of the project. Editor uh, is a role below owner. This is similar to contributor in Azure. Editor is contributor, owner is owner. And if you want to go to AWS, editor is equivalent to power user access and owner is equivalent to administrative access in AWS. So I will grant viewer role, least privilege principle and save it. Now Rakesh has been added as a viewer to this SecOps project. So if Rakesh types in console.cloud.google.com, Rakesh can select this project. And since Rakesh has been granted viewer role, whatever resources are available in that SecOps project, Rakesh will be able to see the configuration of it, whatever a viewer can do. That's how it will translate to. So Rakesh, I would request you to share your screen and show it to the rest of the participants, the experience that you see. I'll stop sharing. How the end user experience will be. All the participants, please focus. So Rakesh will type console.cloud.google.com, which is the URL to browse Google Cloud Console. Go to incognito. Now type console.cloud.google.com. Now type this ID. Okay, this is taking you to Microsoft because I have SSO enabled from Microsoft. That's the reason it is taking you to Microsoft, because I've configured that single sign-on from Microsoft to AWS as well as Google. That's the reason it is directly taking you to Microsoft to sign in there. And when you sign into Microsoft, it will fail because your identity will not exist with Microsoft Entra ID. So that will fail. But there is another method I can quickly show you. Let me take the control and you stay on the screen. I'll add your Gmail ID.
Okay.
I should have disconnected the SSO before asking you to do that, but that's okay. Give me your Gmail ID. Okay. Now instead of your cloud identity ID, I will type your Gmail ID. The process remains the same. What I'm trying to show you is how do we add principals to an account. So let's say this is your ID. I'll select the role, same role, which is viewer role, and add you here. Now you've been added. You can see here, this is your Gmail ID. It has been added as a viewer role. Okay, so let's just go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, great. Now this is where you will select the project. So click on the box, that project box, select a project. On the top, there, and you see SecOps project, select it. Now you are in the SecOps project. So now you are in the SecOps project and you can start working in this project. You can start provisioning resources in this project. Why it is showing you $300 free credit? Because you have not taken free trial yet on this ID. That's the reason you're getting that option. So
Yes.
now you are in SecOps project and you can start, since you are a viewer, you can only see the resources which are available in this project. Or if you want to compare it with Azure, you are now in the subscription and you can only see the resources which are there in the subscription. Since this subscription has recently been created, probably a couple of minutes ago, there is no resource here. So even if you navigate to compute service or any other service, you will find nothing. So click on those three dots. Yep. Click there and click on compute engine. and then click on instances. You will find nothing here. It will be blank because we have not created anything. See, it's blank. It is asking you to enable the API. And when you hit enable, it will fail. Why? Because you don't have appropriate access. You have viewer role only. So it is blank basically. There is nothing in this account because we've just created. See, it says missing required permission because you have browser level of access, and browser is not a viewer level of access. And with viewer access, you can't do any activity in this account. Is it making sense to you, Rakesh?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Any other participant who has any question on this behavior? So what I have shown you is how do we sign up to Google Cloud as a business? How do we build a cloud identity account? In cloud identity, how do we create a user? And then how do we grant that user access to Google Cloud Console? How do we create a folder? How do we create projects? That's what I have shown you in the last couple of minutes. I'm open to questions if you have any. And if you want to practice it yourself, you just need to spend 1,000 rupees, purchase a domain, a brand new domain, either from GoDaddy or directly from Google, and then use that domain to build your own cloud identity free trial account. And with that account, you can also create a free trial, Google free trial account, and you can also have an organization structure created for yourself.
Hi, Raghuveer. I'm Thompson. I'm facing an issue with my account. Share my screen.
Sure. Rakesh, you can stop sharing. Yes.
Is my screen visible?
There are issues with your payment account. So probably the payment method that you have added, the debit or credit card, it may have some issues. Scroll it down. When did you create this account? This free trial account?
I tried yesterday also. Now also I tried with another card.
Okay.
And it's showing.
Just go to that
this.
email address. You must have received communication from Google also.
Yeah, I got a mail. Same thing I got, like the thing which was fetching here. Some related message I got.
No, but that message will show you the process to rectify it also. That how can you fix it? It says there are issues with your payment account, but it doesn't specifically tell you what issues are there, right? So that
Yes.
information will be available in the email that you have received from Google. Go to your email.
Okay.
On the same tab, you can type gmail.com and
Okay.
Gmail with. Is that your Gmail address? Okay. With which ID did you create this account? Go back to the previous tab.
Thompson D9.
At nextend.com.
No.
With this email address you created, right? So sign into
Yes.
this email address. Not on this tab, maybe on other tab. No, over here you are add Gmail to your Google account. You're adding your Gmail to your Google account.
No,
This
it's
is
already added.
now you are in Gmail. Now it is sending you to Gmail. Okay, now go to that. It says action needed. Update your text information. Okay. It says immediate action required, right?
Yeah.
Yep, this one. So there are two emails. First says immediate action required. Your Google Cloud Platform API first project ID is being suspended. Scroll it down. And it says we recently detected an issue with the billing account associated. Sign into, if you have more than one billing account, go to link billing account. You just need to follow the action requested on the payment overview page. Go to payment overview page and see what action are they requesting you to perform. Scroll it down. What action? Is there any action which is pending on your part?
Automatic payments, make a payment.
No. Click, go up there. Payment, no. Yep, stay here. Now click on that arrow where it says there are issues with your payment account. Click on that arrow. It shows you what needs to be done. See, it says verify now. Click on verify now. Okay. Upload a photocopy of your ID card, of your card Visa. So you need to upload a copy of it and upload a valid government issued proof. So they just want to verify whether the card that you have added and you are the same person. How do you verify?
Actually, I used my friend's
Right.
card.
That's the reason. So you used your friend's card and you used your name. Now name on the card and name on the account is not matching. That is the challenge.
So what I have to do now? Like I didn't have any Visa or Mastercard.
You don't have a debit or credit card.
I have a debit card, but it is a RuPay card. But it is asking only Visa or Mastercard.
Yeah, that's the see. Google is a US company. They don't understand RuPay. RuPay is an
Okay.
Indian local, payment method or payment protocol. So you need a debit card, your own debit card actually. This will not work because even if you upload this, I'm saying just go ahead and upload this at least. Google, but then the challenge is when you upload it, they will see because on the government photo ID, there will be a different name and your name on the account is different. That is
Yes.
where the challenge is. So they might reject this it. They might reject it stating that you are using somebody else's card, or they might ask you to get the authorization from your friend. So your friend will be contacted by Google to seek authorization whether he actually approves this action or not.
Can I create an account on his name? So that can I use like by his credentials and can I use that?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, say you can create a new account. I'm saying,
Okay.
does your friend have Gmail ID?
Yeah, he had a Gmail ID.
Okay, so with his Gmail ID, you can sign up
Okay.
to Google Cloud and then
Okay.
you provide his debit credit card. Then Google will not have any issue because Google will have the account name as well as payment method, name on the payment method same.
Okay, Raghu. Thank you. I'll do that. I'll do that later. I
Yeah,
don't want to waste the time.
only if your
Thank you.
friend does this activity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll do that later. Thank
Sure.
you. Thank you, Raghu.
And I'm saying you can also create an account. Why to go to your friends? You can probably use your brother, sister, family member, any of your family member who has a debit or credit card from Visa or Master logo. You can use that. I'm saying I don't know whether your friend will allow this or not, but you can go to your family members. They will surely approve it. Approve it. At the end of the day, this is for your own learning, right?
Yeah, actually, even if my family members, it shows the same thing, right? Like cardholder name and ID will be different, right?
No, you will create a separate account completely. So let's say your father has a debit card or credit card with with MasterCard or Visa written on it. Okay. Now what
Yeah.
you need
Okay.
to find
Okay.
out
Got
whether
it.
your father has a Gmail ID. Yes, use it. No, create a new Gmail ID for him. So create a new Gmail ID for your father by putting your father's name and father's information there, and then use that Gmail ID to sign up to Google Cloud. And while signing up, when you provide the debit or credit card, use your father's debit or credit card. That way, in the account, name of your father and on the debit or credit card, name of your father will be the same. And Google has no issues with this approach.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Got it, Raghu. Thank you.
You can stop sharing.